So I'm Brittany Harris. I am co-founder and CEO of Qflow. We enable construction sites to track and manage their environmental impact and ultimately drive a more sustainable construction process. I started Qflow partly because I wanted to see if I could, but also because I really love the construction industry, but I also kind of hate it. My co-founder and I met while tackling the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and we realised we're both from the same industry and we both had this relationship with construction, that it was the most beautiful, romantic thing you could do, which is build the world. But it was also equally destroying the world as well, generating so much waste and noise and polluting our air. And we wanted to change that. We really wanted to see a more sustainable construction process. And we actually waited for 1.5 years to see if anyone else did it, and no one did. So we were like, fine, whatever, we'll do it ourselves. And we quite naively and blindly decided to start a company, and I can honestly say ignorance is bliss. We had no idea what we were getting in for, but I 100% don't regret it, and neither does Jade. We love what we do now, and we really are making a difference with every construction site we work with. I think the risks are relative. With starting a company, you choose what kind of risk you want to take. You can, start it as a side hustle while you're still working a full-time job, which is how we started for 4 or 5 months. We realised we couldn't scale and grow doing that, and so we went full-time. We took that risk, but it was a measured risk. We joined an accelerator that helped support us and gave us the guidance that we needed. So I think there are a multitude of risks with whatever you do. You choose how you want to manage and mitigate them and what you're comfortable with. The biggest challenges have always been, you get knocked down every single day, probably 2 or 3 times a day, and you just have to keep getting up and keep brushing yourself off. And I had someone describe this to me as grit, and I had no idea what grit was. They were like, oh yeah, founders, they're really gritty. And I was like, what the hell's grit? Now I know, grit is literally just being unstoppable, being completely tenacious, 100% curious, just saying, how do I make this better? How can I keep going forward? What's the next step? How do I get over this next hurdle? And although the challenges have changed dramatically from where we started, when we started it was, I have no clue what I'm doing, to being, how do I raise investment, to being, how do I convert this client into a paying client, how do I hire the best people to build my team. The challenges change, but the similarity or the gold thread behind all of those is always, how do I keep getting back up when I'm knocked down? And the only piece of advice that I will give to every single founder is really love what you're doing and be 100% committed to it. Because the only thing that gets Jade and I up every single day is we genuinely believe that what we're building is important. It's not just going to make money for our investors. It's not just going to give our team a great ride on this startup journey. It's going to fundamentally change construction and the way we build the world. And that commitment to achieving that is what gets us up every time. I think we have a real challenge with STEM entrepreneurship, whether it's men or women. We need more of it. We need to challenge the norms and find better ways of doing old, rusty things. And sometimes it's about going back to basics. I think the main thing that we can do to get more women in, but also just more people in, is have really great mentors and get more exposure. So I never would have considered going into entrepreneurship, really. Like I'd played with the idea, but never seriously, until I met one of our mentors, Josh, who is younger than me. And he has had, I think, 6 businesses already. He's an amazing founder. He's a wonderful person. And we just spent the evening chatting, and I was just like, I could probably do this. And just seeing someone at the same age as me who had just achieved so much, I was like, what am I waiting for? I just got to go for this. So having a mentor that you can reflect yourself on in some way, whether that's someone of a similar age or the same gender or the same race or the same religion, it doesn't matter, but having that connection and understanding that that mentor has come from somewhere that you also come from, and therefore you can do what they did, is so powerful. So to get more people into entrepreneurship, I think we need more exposure of the people that have done it, and really share that mentorship as we go. The thing I love most about what I do is I just get to talk to people all the time. As many of my friends have highlighted, I love talking. I love sharing ideas. I love being challenged. If anyone asks a really intense, difficult question, I get so excited because I just want to see if I can unpick it. And that's literally what I do every day, is I get confronted with a new challenge that I probably haven't seen before, and then I have to figure out how to unpick it, and I can never do it on my own. And that's the most important thing about running a startup or starting a company, is learn you are never going to do this alone. You just have to find the right people to help you along the way. And I love that. I love people, I love collaborating, I love communicating, I love sharing ideas and just generally being all over the place. And I've finally found a job that allows me to do all of those things and have a really positive impact on the world.